Hey guys, welcome to another episode of View from the Cheap Seats, our look at the week in sports, aka the WEAK, the week in sports. And there was a lot of week stuff that happened this week in the week of sports. And the week of sports, our guest is phenomenal from the podcast Sorry We Love Football.
Great comedian.
Jamel Johnson, comedian, Washington Commanders fan. I think the first time we've ever had a Commanders fan on this show. You don't see too many Commanders. We have some in our lives. Josh Levitsky, our friend, is a big Commanders fan, but not too many out in the world. And so it'll be great to talk to him. He said they pulled him back in with that win last week. They're 3-3. We'll get into it. This is like one of the most fascinating NFL seasons I've seen to date. So we'll talk all about that. We have a phenomenal Patreon video of a dog on the field. That's all I'm going to say.
Join our Patreon. It's a very, very simple thing, and it's super way to support, and it's great new stuff.
And we give you new content all the time. So that thing came across us, and then we'll talk about some insane goings on with former wrestlers in quick hits. There's good stuff all the way around. But first, top take. This just came out, Jay. I was shocked to hear this. I think it's not shocked to hear the first one. Cricket will be a new Olympic sport, which I think is actually a really good thing.
Awesome.
Although
cricket matches can take 3 days.
So this past weekend, my friend Justin Booth-Claiborne, who's from England, he was like, "Are you watching on Peacock the rugby World Championships that are happening right now?" Ireland is the number one ranked team, and they're in a dogfight with New Zealand, the All Blacks, who are an unbelievable team. Who used to be number one and were number one for a long period of time. Legendary team. Ireland has never made it out of the quarterfinals. This was a quarterfinal match to make it to the semifinals. Here's who's left standing. South Africa, they always have a good team, and they're a powerhouse. South Africa, New Zealand, England is still in it. I believe England was playing a quarterfinal match, and I'm not sure. And they were playing against Fiji. England and Fiji are two teams. So
Ireland, I'm assuming there's an Australian team or two in there.
Well, Australia they didn't make it in, which is bizarre. So I'm watching this, and I'm like, and it is fascinating. It's amazing. There's a lot that I don't understand, okay? There's like penalties given, and someone goes into the sin bin, which is the penalty box there. I like that they call it the sin bin. It's kind of the penalty box for like 10 minutes. You go away, and there are like 10 on 11.
I think it would be good for a sport like rugby, or is rugby in the Olympics? I don't think it is. I think it'd be good for a sport like cricket to make it into the Olympics, because then we can understand it more. We could
start to learn it. Like someone would have to explain to this audience,
to dumb Americans like us,
this is how cricket works, and we kind of understand it a little bit. It's about pitching. Bowling is like pitching, and you got to knock down wickets and stuff. It's fascinating. It's a really interesting thing. Very intricate. I would like to know more how it works. And I was watching rugby, and it was super exciting, even though I didn't know how all of it worked. And Ireland lost, which was terrible and devastating for Ireland. I wanted Ireland to win because they had never made it past the quarterfinals. Whatever. I got into the excitement of it, even though I didn't have a dog in the race. That's fine. But you know what other sport's going to be in there? Flag football.
Well, Frisbee golf was unavailable. So
flag football, Jay, is in the Olympics. If I'm a member of a cricket team, if I am a high jumper, if I am a figure skater, if I am a speed skater, if I am a ski jumper, if I'm a slalomer, if I am a bobsledder, if I'm a skeleton luge, if I'm any of those people, I am so mad at the IOC. They're allowing flag football, something you play intramurally in college with your friends on the weekends after you graduate college in a park.
Who bribed them to
is
get this
an Olympic sport. It basically it lessens every other Olympic sport. Am I right, Jay?
Yes.
I mean, what's next? Is cornhole going to be an Olympic sport?
I hope it is.
I mean, curling's an Olympic sport, and that probably pissed a lot of people off. Curling,
the biathlon, ski and then shoot something.
That at least you have to ski. But I'm telling you,
flag football.
Yes, there is a certain amount of skill in it, but it is a lesser version of the actual thing that's played on a professional level.
Like golf just got in there, and I'm like, that makes sense.
Yes, golf was fun. The Olympic golf thing was actually
it was like watching a golf tournament.
It was like he put it in the category of Ryder Cup type thing. Yeah, that was interesting. But like and people are playing it on the very highest level. Can you honestly say that this flag footballer is like one of the best football players in the world? No. Flag football is like a notch worse than the NFL Pro Bowl in terms of
that's basically flag football.
I'm just
like a 7-on-7 team.
I can't believe that flag football I can't believe that these things are added in. Roof ball, is that next, Jay? Remember we covered roof ball?
Is there going to be an all-time quarterback for both?
I mean, if you tell someone you're an Olympic level flag footballer, they're not going to believe you.
Do you know how every Olympic flag football match is going to end? Someone's mom is going to be like, dinner,
and they have to come
we're
in.
Done.
That's it. I'm just saying, for the sake of all, and you have time because I think this is 2028. You can double back on this.
You don't
just
have to
because you announce it. It's not like
the flag football communities around the world
going to rise
upset.
up and pull your flag out.
Remember we said flag football? We're throwing a flag on that. We're not doing that.
You have please take a more legitimate. I would take snooker over flag football. I really would. Billiards, I would take that. Olympic, because at least there's like an Olympic level of billiards that you say to yourself, you can't beat this guy. Mm-hmm. You can't beat this woman. She's that good. Is competitive eating going to be in there?
I hope so.
This is where it's going. There's a slippery slope in the Olympics. Let the Olympics. I don't think boxing's in the Olympics, Jay.
Slap fighting, though, might be.
I don't think boxing is in the Olympics. Pillow fighting.
Boxing was in the Olympics.
Pillow fighting.
Boxing is in the Olympics.
It's not.
Not
anymore. Boxing is not in the Olympics anymore. I looked it up. It's not in the Olympics anymore. But flag football is. Come on, Olympics. You're better than that. Okay? You are better than that. At least, come on, IOC. You're less crooked than that.
I don't know about that.
They're making some money off the flag football lobby. I don't know. That's my opinion. That came out. It shocked me. Oof. It was weird. I know we're in the middle of NFL season. I know we're in the middle of the Major League Baseball playoffs.
Hockey has started.
But this bothered me to no end. The NBA preseason, but this bothered me to no end. All right, let's take a break. Come back. Jamel Johnson, fantastic for the podcast. Sorry, we love football, is with us, and he is a great comedian and a great dude. I cannot wait to get into it on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. As promised, we never don't deliver on that. We always deliver on our promise.
That's an easy promise to make because we know who's going to be on the show.
And he's been hanging with us, and he just came from playing basketball, and I just love that he's here. Just great comic, knows his football, Washington Commanders fan, which is rare to find.
We have not waded into those waters yet.
A phenomenal podcaster on a podcast that we did called Sorry We Love Football. That is, if you're not listening to it, it is phenomenal. Chiefs fan, Eagles fan, Washington Commanders fan, all three of you guys come with fresh takes that are often hotter than you can even put your hands on. Hilarious.
Funny.
Jamel Johnson, welcome to the show, buddy.
Damn, thanks, man. That's like some of the nicest stuff anybody's ever
Come on. It's from the time you caught us at the Burbank airport to now.
Or we were on the Dan Van Kirk show first?
Yeah, Dan Van Kirk show first, but like you hit us up at the Burbank airport.
Real in front of the guy's sandwich spot.
In front of Guy Fieri's
sandwich joint.
I'm going to call him Fieri. I'm
Fieri.
not doing Fieri.
You're not going to do Fieri.
You don't want to put the...
I'm not giving it some weird pronunciation.
He is the most beautiful lesbian I've ever seen. So that was great, and it just serves to all you young people out there who are listening to this. Always connect with people when you see someone, because look at what came out of this. Like we did your podcast,
show,
which we loved, and you introduced us to all three of you guys who were going to have you on at different points throughout the year.
Unreal that this is what's
so good. And then here we are. We're here to talk about. And I'm so happy the Commanders won this past week.
And you simply emailed us and said they pulled me back in, Godfather 3 style.
They pulled me back in.
I'm done. It's over.
You were like, this season is over before this weekend. When you lost to the Bears.
When we lost to the Bears, I was like, I knew it.
You knew it was coming?
I was right. I didn't know it was going to look like that. Like, okay, like we blow games. That's what we do. That's what we've been known for doing for the past 25 years.
Thank you.
Is blowing games. But we had never really blown one like that. Usually we lose to teams that are worse than us.
Yes.
But it's like a tough game. We blow it in the fourth.
This was the first time
we got our head kicked in.
You made Justin Fields look good.
Incredible.
That's not okay.
You gave hope
worldwide.
So not only did you lose the game, you gave hope to Chicago Bears. You kind of messed them up because they were like trying to tank.
Let's tank it all and let's get Caleb Williams. Well, then Caleb Williams doesn't look great this last weekend against Notre Dame against the real defense.
He's tanking to stay in college.
That's right. He wants to
stay,
take that NIL for the next year. So I mean, let's. You said 25 years. And you've been a Commanders fan for a long time.
So we're older. We're older.
You went through 3 names with this team.
Yes, I've seen them all. I prefer the term Washington football teamist.
Teamist?
I'm a teamist.
I like that name.
So
too.
I agree, but Randy and I remember, I'm assuming we're much older than you, but we remember the 80s when they were dominant.
Come on, the Hogs.
Dominant.
Yes.
The Hogs, Riggins, like that slow.
Joe
Riggins in a
Theismann, Doug Williams, first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Ernest Biner.
Ernest Biner.
Showing up late.
Ernest Biner showing up late after the problems he had in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and he was. So we were like big Cleveland Browns fans. We were St. Louis Cardinals football fans when they were there, and we never did anything except for the one
Free agents,
strike.
technically.
Strike shortened. Yeah, we were free agents, but the strike shortened year when we were 5-4-1. Is that what we were?
That was the only year that the
Roy
Cardinals-
Green, Neil Lomax, Stump Mitchell. We had some decent players. And by
O.J.
the way, we had
Anderson.
O.J. Anderson before he went to the Giants and actually won a Super Bowl with
The
them.
original OJ.
Yeah,
the original Juice.
the one who didn't kill his wife.
Yeah.
So
Allegedly.
Honorable mention to OJ McDuffie, who I also don't think killed his wife.
O.J. McDuffie did not.
So we watched that Cardinals
O.J.
team.
Mayo, neither.
Yeah, probably not.
Other problems, but fine. So we watched that Cardinals team
We
go
rooted-
5-11 every year, and then the one year in the strike shortened season year, they get to the playoffs.
And
who do they meet in the first round? The Washington at the time Redskins.
Hi.
Art Monk. Good night.
Just smoked you guys.
Good
Smoked
night,
us.
Joe Theismann.
It was like a reminder, like you don't belong.
He got a football camp because of that game.
really?
Yeah.
That was what set the football camp off.
Art Monk had.
We set him up for his life.
Yeah.
Art Monk was a hell of a receiver. Art Monk held like the
Wasn't
record.
it crazy that like he couldn't get into the Hall of Fame for like a long time? I'm like, why are we holding out on Art Monk? He
I
was.
think someone's kid didn't get into the That's what I'm
might
thinking.
be it.
From
I
the
think
Hall
it's a
of
little
Fame.
politics.
You
Yeah.
think it's a camp thing? Man, maybe someone from
Okay.
Canton. Ooh, sorry. Did we? You knocked it out, Jay.
I didn't touch it. Hold on.
There we go. I'm back.
So I want to get to this moment in like camps run by athletes. Why do like in James Harden's basketball camp? Why does he have to like cross up a little fat white kid? That when it's and then the whole
like,
camp
what,
goes
you're not-
crazy. Like what? Like to me, the camp should go crazy if that kid steals the ball.
Right.
Not if James Harden can cross up like a hypoglycemic 11-year-old.
It's the same thing as like, why do people want to get made fun of at a comedy show?
I guess.
You know what I'm saying? You know how
Yes,
sometimes
that's right.
people will be like, "Hey, man,
Make fun of me.
Hey, you can make fun of
I'm
me if you
sitting up front."
need to, dog.
And you're like, no, I have jokes. I don't need you. This isn't a sketch
Hey,
group.
just in case you were loud, I'm gonna just say you could do it.
Thanks. I love
That's the
it.
same thing with the camp. Kids just want to get dunked
They
on.
want to get dunked on by James Harden so they can say they get. So that's something we never considered.
Yeah.
The altruistic nature of the fat kid who wants to get out. I mean,
It
come
was
on.
to just
Come
get
on.
dunked.
Slow white kid who's just gonna get
Like has no business.
Harden's like back, dribbling behind his back through his legs, puts the ball in the kid's head.
They're
goes
both
around.
eating candy.
So the camps happen. Art Monk gets a camp. He gets into the Hall of Fame.
Those are the glory days of the Washington
Yeah.
Reds.
Not
That was
really
it.
much to speak of in the 90s.
Kindergarten, 91.
Yeah.
I think was the last time they won. I was in kindergarten,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then it's just a slow decline from there. I think
slow
we
descent.
we might have beat the Lions in like a wild card game
Yeah.
or something after that, but it was just nothing but butt cheeks from then on.
It's
'Cause
like
then
Baltimore.
Jack Kent Cook dies and. The team gets flipped. They buy the new stadium. It just turned
Snyder.
straight to ass. Also,
The worst owner in
The
all of it.
worst.
Like
Yeah.
he and JD and the Sure Shots, James Dolan to me feel like the same guy from the Knicks.
it's like
I'm
a little bit of the same guy.
You
Just
have
billionaire who you're like, you're not going to tell me what to do. It's like
One
yeah,
guy loves karaoke. The other guy's like, no, I don't think I'm
I
singing.
know.
But other than that, they're like the same guy.
They're the same guy.
they're
They're the
just-
same guy, and they've made
no
bad
rules.
decisions, and they haven't helped their team.
And they've
the
held
Knicks haven't
their-
done anything, and Washington football hasn't done anything.
I mean, getting in the way, like
Yes.
there's a lot of times. We had Marty Schottenheimer. God bless his soul.
Marty Schottenheimer was a perennial 14-2
Coming to save us.
lose in the championship round of the playoffs, but still, you would take 14-2, wouldn't you?
Dude, I would take it from
You
anyone.
would take a Dodgers-style regular season. We're
And
winning a
then-
lot of games, and every week. So there is frustration when you lose. There's always frustration when you lose. However, if you're a winning franchise, I would ask all my Dodgers fans who just got their pants beat off of them by
handed to them
by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let me ask you how the last 10 summers have been for you. Just the summers. Don't talk about October. We'll talk about the summers. Great.
Summer's amazing.
Kicking
Fine.
ass.
You don't even have to watch the game. You're just in the stadium,
Enjoying.
Yeah.
Who are we playing today? We're beating them. We're going to get 110 wins.
So
Jubilant.
you say to yourself, if you're like, I got a chance to buy some tickets and go see Washington, in your heart of hearts, you're like, chances are they're going to lose this game. Do I want to go see a loss? Dodgers fans all summer, they're like, you want to go see the Dodgers win?
Yeah, they'll probably win.
They're probably going to win.
They're probably going to give away a sick multicultural T-shirt.
Yes.
Multicultural T-shirt or a bobblehead from someone from years ago, like a Davy Lopes bobblehead. I'll take.
You're
that.
going to get that. You're going to get the Spanish, version from Fernando Valenzuela. You're going to get something great. And yes, they're going to win. But you have to
They're
like
going to
weigh
screw it up in the end, but
you have to weigh your finances though when it comes to like going to see the Commanders play.
commitment, parking.
Commanders Rams. If Commanders Rams rolled around, and are they playing this year? Have they played?
Actually, it's one of them's coming up.
Okay.
I know we've got the Niners this year on Christmas Eve.
So, but if you,
do you really sit here now? Do you think you're going to win that game?
I mean, now I wish it was today.
The Niners just
I'd love
lost
them
to
now.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
No McCaffrey, no Debo.
That's true.
Kicker who's blowing it.
And the Michigan kicker who's blowing it. And they just, but they just lost. They should have won that game. They played a terrible game, and they still could have won that game.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
so Washington right now is what, 2-3 and
3-3, or it's like 3-3 or 3-2. One of the two.
3-3. They won this past week. They pulled you back in.
You have some pieces.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like your defense.
Yeah, I do like your
the
defense.
defense is good.
You're the GM. We say to you right now, fix the Washington Commanders.
How
what
do you
need?
What's the first piece you go out and get?
A tight end.
Yeah.
I go get a real tight end. I go get a big target. Logan Thomas isn't it.
Logan Thomas is a converted quarterback, Virginia Tech.
And he's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
You know who you want? You want Brock Bowers out of this draft. This
Ooh,
kid
but you're not
coming
going to get him.
from Georgia.
He's going
I don't know.
early.
I don't know.
I mean, listen, if Washington loses a bunch of games, you get Brock Bowers, and you're like, we now have this bizarre hybrid flex option guy
who's like big enough, fast enough to be a receiver, but big enough to be a tight end. He's
creates matchup problems. That's who you want.
It works. I want something like that, or I want I'm going offensive line, or I'm going tight end.
Is Sam Howell the guy? That's my question.
I don't know if he's the guy, but I
put him in a
believe
category of other quarterbacks that are out there. Give me, for those who don't know, give me the comp for who Sam Howell is, because you watched a lot of him.
What is the comp?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Is he
Ryan Tannehill.
The comp is Taylor Heineke with better tweets. Tweets that I haven't seen.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I would say.
He's got a tight social media game.
Undersized, not afraid.
Not afraid.
He's got heart.
He's got heart.
But he'll throw it into some mess.
So he's like Baker Mayfield in that way.
A little bakery. Actually, Baker's probably
That's
a
a good comp.
He's
Baker's
not bad. He's fine. I don't believe in tanking for the quarterback. I think you play with Sam and you play fine, and then you get who you get. He'll be fine for like a few years. I'm fine with it.
You're fine with him.
I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
That you're not ecstatic.
Yeah. And
I mean,
you could tell I'm actually fine because of how I'm raising my voice.
You said I'm fine.
Fine.
You're like
20
Ryan
times.
Day saying our team is tough. Like, stop saying
We're
it.
tough.
We're tough. I'm like, stop.
All right, just don't say
Stop
it in that
saying
voice.
This Atlanta game was enough for me to be like, all right, man, if you could do this.
Atlanta's good. Atlanta aren't the Bears, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
So
That
that-
was a team that was ascending. Atlanta, to me, was one of those weird ass teams where you're like, you should be bad.
Yeah.
Atlanta, like you've been down for a long time. You haven't been a playoff team since like early Matty Ryan, and now you aren't a team that we should be
They got some
to be
stuff.
reckoned with.
Drake London.
Drake London on my fantasy team. I was like, I'm gonna play Drake
Played
London.
him?
I played him as
Man,
like a flex thing.
I left him, and I was going to
He
sub him.
saved my ass.
I was going to sub him for Collins. Turns out it would have been playing him. I had
So
Debo.
I have Deshaun Watson as my quarterback. I mean, look, I auto drafted, but I have Deshaun Watson.
I respect an auto
I have
draft. I'm not
Tyreek
gonna
Hill.
lie to you.
Tyreek Hill is like a quarterback. Every week he gives you 27 points. Every week. Nobody's going to get behind Tyreek Hill. He's Tyreek Hill.
That's true.
Get behind the man.
He should get some points for the celebrations.
I know.
Half a point at least.
Give him a half point.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at your upcoming games.
Let's talk about it.
For the Commanders, they play the Giants. You have to win that game.
Which is not a. That's
It's not a slam dunk with Saquon Barkley back.
Saquon being back.
But let me ask you, because there's this, I'm sure you've seen the TikToks. And I'm wondering if you guys have talked about this on your amazing podcast. I'll say it again. Sorry, we love football. Do you guys talk about this conspiracy stuff that is popping up on TikTok all over the place? There's like conspiracy that the league is conspiring to lift guys like Josh Allen up because he is such a, like that there was a conspiracy at the end of that game to not call
clear holding.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure. Yes.
You believe in that?
The league has been conspiring to make the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks look good for at least 10 years.
I mean, so
Good
the league is.
When did Cletus come out? When did Fox start doing Cletus?
I don't know.
Right around there.
Yeah.
Somewhere around
Didn't
Cletus.
Jay Larson used to do that tweet? Right,
You just like Cletus did this?
for Cletus. I think he wrote tweets for Cletus.
He wrote
that's nice.
Cletus tweets.
Cleats tweets.
Cleats tweets.
Yeah, I mean, so who's a better 3-3 team at this moment? The Jets or Washington
or Tampa Bay? I think Tampa Bay's 3-3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think you might
Jets,
be right.
Washington. Who would you rather be at 3-3? The Jets, Tampa Bay, or Washington right now?
It's really sick to say that I would rather be us.
You rather
Okay.
you? I like this.
You have a
I love that you're
61.4 chance of winning. You could be a 4-3 team.
4-3 team.
Yeah.
So who else is coming up for them? All right, so they got the Giants on the horizon.
The only reason I think we'll actually win the game is because Daniel Jones is not playing. Daniel Jones destroys us.
He does?
Only us.
Only you.
If you go back and look at the stats.
He is constantly.
He looks like Steve Young and Joe Montana dropped
a larger baby.
peanut butter
Is it
into
wrong
his
to
Reese's.
think that he's still growing as a human being? Like
His neck is wrong. His neck is the
I'm
wrong
like, you're
proportions.
6'4" last year.
Now
I
you're
think he's
6'6".
6'6".
All right, so they play the Giants and they play the Eagles. That's tough.
That's
it.
super.
Although the Eagles lost this week.
Sure. We usually split with them. We
Okay.
usually
You
do
usually
find a
get-
way to beat them somehow.
Okay.
So, oh shoot! Hold
So
on.
you had the Eagles.
Then you play. After that, you play the Seahawks.
Okay, that
That's a toughie.
Oh, I'm sorry. You play the Patriots first. You can win that. They're
crush
1-5.
them. That's over.
Possible.
Then the Seahawks. They're 3-3 also.
They're 3-3 also.
3-2.
Gino let me down in
Gino.
Cincinnati.
I mean,
Giant.
That's fine.
Then you play the Giants. That's a tough game, but if you can win both of those,
Yeah, with Daniel Jones coming back, that's an L.
okay.
Stop
I
it.
love that you're
I'm
already
sorry.
saying
It's
that.
just
I
the
know.
truth,
He's
man.
lived
I've
through
seen
it.
enough
He's
of
lived
these.
through it.
then you play the Cowboys. Then you play the Commanders. Then on.
play the Commanders. They are the.
I mean, then you play the Dolphins.
We
Sorry.
should play ourselves.
You should play yourselves.
the
The Cowboys, the
will
Dolphins,
wipe the floor with you.
and then on 12-17. Do you pony up tickets? You can go on the Game Time app. They support our show. Do you pony up money
See
to
the
get
Rams.
tickets? See the
this
Rams
Ram
here in
it?
SoFi.
The problem is, I'm more interested in seeing the Rams in that game. I love this year's Rams.
This
So
year's
go to
Rams
the
are
game.
fun.
This year's Rams is fun.
They're fun because they were counted
But
out.
now the problem is, I can't. What am I paying? I'm going to pay $110 plus parking to.
Not if you go on the Game Time app. Game Time app. Day
Slide
of.
it?
Games. Hit that. Get it. Load it up. I'm guarantee you're
Okay.
going to get better price. They have the best price. I mean,
I like
we've
that.
used it
We've
so
used
many
it. It's
times.
awesome.
It's
All right.
literally the best.
Do it day of. You just can't. You don't plan some necessarily way far in advance. You're just gonna be
Just
like,
get it.
keep it open, and if
Yeah,
I'll
that's
either
fine.
watch on TV or I'll get good tickets, and you will. Then you play the Jets. Then you play the 49ers. Then you play the Cowboys. It's a rough ending. I see. There's a world where you guys are like
Jay might be right. So listen. There's a world.
9-8, and then there's
There's
a world
also a
where you're
world-
like 5-12. Like
If you're 5-12, there's a shot that you get Brock Bowers and get your wish and get that tight end that you're like, we need this guy.
Which is he's the only thing missing. We got a lot of speed guys. McLaurin's great.
McLaurin's
but
great.
there's just nothing. We have no safety valve in the middle of the field. I even like Robinson and Gibson out of the backfield. But there's
Yeah.
just when we try to go over the middle, there's problems.
there's nothing there. And you need that because what happens is the second you start having that issue for another team, then they start bunching in the middle. Then your guys on the side start
All the
doing
teams
better.
that can go over the middle are just killing it.
That's
I
what
mean,
it is.
it is really I'll say this. It has been a phenomenal year in the NFL for teams that normally are not there. So the Lions' performance this year has been just enjoyable to watch. If you are anybody who isn't in the NFC Norris division, so to speak, in that Midwestern NFC North.
I miss Central.
I
miss
said
when
North. They call it the
Central.
North. Yeah, I like it when they call it the Central too. But like
Tampa was there for some reason. It was
right,
cute.
Rodgers is out and he's down, and that sort of
Created a vacuum.
The
down
Vikings so disappointing too.
there. Vikings, so to me, the Vikings are like Michigan State in football. They're a football team.
It makes sense. Kirk of it all.
Right,
Cousins.
so they could go like Michigan State was beating Rutgers. And they just collapsed. They were winning 24-6 this past weekend. Collapsed, lost 27-24. They were beating Iowa at Iowa. They were literally handling them in Iowa. Then weird punch shank that Iowa scores a field goal, and then a return back from Cooper DeJean, and they lose that game. They could be. They're 2-4 right now. They could be 4-2 right now. A lot of times with Michigan State, they're either 3-9
or 9-3
or 9-3, and you're
playing the same year.
Playing the exact same thing.
Same season.
A couple of breaks didn't go your way, and you're doing that, and a couple of breaks did go your way. That's what I feel like. So the Vikings got all the breaks last year, and then in the playoffs, it all caught up with them. This year, they're not getting any of the breaks. There are so many close games that if they get a little break, they win that game, and suddenly, but they are. It's all the karma.
That's why the NFL is so good. It's like there's a lot of parity, I feel like, now in a way that there wasn't in the past.
Except that Detroit is building their team kind of like the University of Michigan football team is in college football. They are building their team to eliminate factors. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They're like, Jared Goff doesn't make mistakes. He isn't the type of guy to improvise and do some
he's
crazy.
not great, but
They
he's
tried to
definitely
write
not
him off.
bad.
He made a Super Bowl. He made a damn Super Bowl.
So here, let me ask you this. Is he better than Stafford or worse than Stafford? If you had the choice to pick the two of them, they're standing in the sandlot, you got to grab either one of them.
He's just younger.
Yeah.
Because Prime Stafford, we didn't even get to see Prime Stafford.
Prime Stafford was wasted.
He was buried in a horrible organization.
Him and Calvin Johnson should have figured out how to get out of there, man.
Yeah.
So, but Calvin Johnson goes down as one of the greatest of all time, and in that organization, he can never buy a drink in Detroit. He'll always be there, up at the top of people's list. But this Detroit team is eliminating the factors that cause you that. All the things you say about Minnesota, they're a team that if like something weird happens, they're not winning the game. Detroit is like, if something weird happens, we will run over it. We don't care. And that's Dan Campbell. I mean, it's
he said he's
going to
bite people straight up. He was like, that was like his opening. Look, we bite people now.
But I mean, isn't that cool to see that like that organization? So as you're a fan of the Commanders, and again, I don't know if you're this way with your team, but like our fandom is so toxic, it's terrible. The teams we root for, we love so much that we absolutely hate them.
It's almost not even
ask Aaron
fun.
how we treat the St. Louis
Aaron,
Cardinals.
how are we about the Cardinals?
Just diabolical.
Right.
Right.
So
It's hard. It's horrifying.
impossible. And poor Aaron, who's like a normal fan, who's
he's like just a person who wants to love it. Our fandom is so toxic, like we're ruining it for him.
I don't want to. I'm going to publicly
We're like
apologize
poison.
to you. It's not good. So, but when we don't have
We're
a
like
team,
Roundup. Like we spray us around, and like not only does it kill the weeds, but everyone
people
around gets cancer.
right? So, but when we don't have a team, because we really don't have a team, it's like if the Commanders win, you're happy for the weekend. Am I right? You're happy for the whole week.
It did, yeah.
You're on a high right now.
When they lost to the Bears, tell me you weren't depressed for the next like 3 or 4 days.
It was not. It wasn't great. I also had to watch it in the Dallas airport. I'm stuck in the Dallas airport.
What are you doing there? Were you coming from shows?
Yeah. I was in I think I was on the way to New Orleans to do some shows.
Damn.
And it was just a mess, man.
Right.
Anyway.
So you're watching it like with Cowboy fans who just want to see you.
Yeah, who are just
like,
having a ball.
loving the fact that this is happening.
Just gleeful.
Because in your division, it's a team they don't give a crap about the Bears. They're just like, we just want to see the Commanders lose. So you have to deal with Dallas fans, and you have to it's the worst.
It wasn't, but I mean, I'll be honest, man. Once I found out once Dan Snyder hired Steve Spurrier, I had to let go of some stuff.
You were like,
I had to make a choice. It was like, I can't die for these guys anymore.
that's unbelievable that you divorced yourself to your fandom in that way, because we can't do that. But because we don't have a team, I can say I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Lions this year.
Because when they drafted Aiden Hutchinson, I said I'm gonna start rooting for the Lions, and I told Detroit friends, and they're like, why?
Why
Why
would
want
you
to do this?
It's a death wish.
I'm like, I root for the Clippers too, so I already know.
Like,
I've been there for
watch
20
sports
years
for fun.
Yeah,
I'm not watching it because it's fun.
No, it's like I'm on board. I want to. It's not good for me.
Yeah.
So I said,
unhealthy.
I'm taking this on. Last year they started off same old Lions, horrible. And then they
1-6
climbed out of that hole,
which was
and did an unbelievable thing at the end of the year to beat the Packers when the Packers had everything on the line. They had nothing to play for, and they still win the game. In my mind, I said, "Ooh, there's buy-in there."
closest thing to a Super Bowl they've had.
Ever.
I would say.
And if that game happens in Detroit at Ford Field, it's not the same.
They also lose. They would lose.
Right.
to go to Lambeau and win that game against those fans.
It's a culture moment. It's a culture moment for your team.
It's a bigger victory than winning at home.
So I saw that and I was like, I'm happy that I jumped on this bandwagon when they went 1-5 or 1-6, whatever first, and I got involved in the Lions before they are who they are this year. And
it's fun to kind of so we can step back and kind of appreciate the league a little bit more, other than like your co-hosts on the podcast who
Sure.
like they're in so deep, and they're in with great teams that will be there for a while.
Also, though, if either of them don't make it to the Super Bowl, the season is a waste. Total
it's
disappointment.
It's a problem. These guys are moping around for the rest of the winter.
So,
it's like, geez.
So we've often said this on the show, and I don't know if you guys talk about this on your pod, but I think the crop of quarterbacks that exist in the league right now, from old quarterbacks who are great to rookies to young quarterbacks who are a couple years in, this is the best I've ever seen in terms of talent overall in the league. I mean, there were times when, yes, Marino and Theismann and Montana, like those are all-time greats, but there were like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Now you've got like 8 to 10 QBs that, and I'm not putting Sam Howell in that, I'm sorry.
Hey,
but,
no, please. Why
do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in Buffalo, you're like,
I would maybe start to put C.J. Stroud in that.
I mean, this dude's winning games too. Like Zach Wilson's winning games now.
I mean, I'm not putting Zach
He's
Wilson.
not, but I'm just saying in terms
the
of what you're
defense
saying,
is
like
winning games.
the depth of quarterbacks.
So the Jets are like Iowa. They're like, we're going to dirty this thing up. Get
We'll
a few
muck it up, and
get a few interceptions. We'll beat you 15-12 and some weird ass shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like,
meanwhile, it is sad. Like it even gets to me on some level more sad for Jets fans that they're winning some of these games, because it's like,
so the
what
Jets
would
will
we be if we had Aaron
So they
Rodgers?
would be. They're going to be like they were last year. I think they're going to make it to the playoffs, and then they're going to lose because they're kind of going to come up against in the playoffs. You know this, or maybe you've seen other teams execute this. Sorry, you know this.
I know it happens.
It takes
he still watches.
It takes a quarterback predominantly, or if you're Tennessee, Derrick Henry. It takes a supernatural effort from one of your skill players, predominantly your quarterback, to overcome a moment. And, you know, your co-host, who's the Kansas City fan on your show, will tell you,
Pat Mahomes
he won us those games.
Yeah.
No other quarterback
Miraculous plays.
Miraculous plays.
On a hobbled leg, scrambling for 18 yards to get the first down.
That was it. There's
That's
the
it.
whole game right there. I mean, whatever happened in the end zone happened in the end zone, and that is what it is. You drew up a good play that the guy beat him, and the only way he could do it was to hold him.
Yeah.
But like that run was everything. That's Pat Mahomes putting the entire city of Kansas City on his back and saying, I'm going to be a legend right now. Joe Burrow's that guy. Josh Allen can be that guy, I think.
Justin Herbert could even be that guy if need be.
No, the Chargers. The Chargers.
The Chargers got a different problem.
I know they got
What-
a problem.
Well, they just have the Clippers energy. You know what I'm saying? They have Clippers.
So that's why I'm drawn to them. That's why I like them more than the Rams. Isn't that
Spiritually
crazy?
I'm so
cursed.
mad that we've always said this, I'm so mad they just didn't make them the Southern California Chargers. Why do they have to make the LA Chargers?
The SC Chargers, that would be so cool.
Southland Chargers.
Southland Chargers, right? Because and you put the games in
Orange
Anaheim
County.
or Orange County.
So all your
San Diego fans are like, drive
up.
an hour and a half to go up
True.
I mean,
Hey.
how many Chargers fans do you think are in LA?
I'm going to say
100?
somewhere. I was going to say maybe 15.
15 to 20.
15, 20
So
tops.
I'm like, I actually care about them. Like, I was sad when they lost to Dallas this week. I was like, God damn it.
Broken hand. If he didn't have the broken hand.
It just bummed me out. And I'm like, God.
That's a big win for Dallas too. It's a big win for Dallas.
The Chargers defense is better than I thought that I've
Bosa.
seen.
They got a Bosa in there.
You got a
they got a
Bosa.
Bosa.
You got a Bosa. You got a chance. And this is coming from guys from Michigan. I love those.
Fair enough.
I will say this. I love the Bosa brothers. I think they are amazing. Nick Bosa specifically on the 49ers. Hey, you heard him all mic'd up.
He's a pretty good mic up.
He's a great mic up.
He's a
He's
pretty
like,
good mic up. I
he's
can't
like,
lie.
bro, football's hard. This is hard. Rushing the quarterback is like, he's like, it's just hard. You got people trying to stop me. He's so honest about it. There isn't this like you hear LeBron talk about, basketball, and you're like, dude, I can't even like relate to you, bro.
He has more of a politician thing going on.
He does, and he's like
never gonna say what he's actually feeling. Like
Yeah.
Like
it's
I
fun.
would love for LeBron at some point just to be like, I don't want the shot. I don't want
he
the
did.
shot.
He didn't when Cleveland won. Kyrie wanted the shot. Kyrie, who's like you have to be like a crazy flat earther. You have to believe in shit that is not real in order to believe in you getting the last shot.
Yeah.
I'll make that shot just like the earth ends at a certain point.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're going to beat the Golden State Warriors, you alone? He's like, yeah. You believe in what else? You believe in unicorns? Sure. Yeah. Just doesn't believe in shit.
Jews control the media?
Sure. The worst. I'm going to look at the standings right now, and I just want to hear, because we're kind of in like a good spot here. We're almost halfway through, okay? Yeah. And what's the biggest surprise this year for you as you're watching the league so far that you guys have talked about?
The Texans. Mm-hmm. For me personally, probably the Texans.
Are you surprised that the Dolphins are blasting people as much as they are?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I guess the only doubt that I ever had was Tua's health.
Mm-hmm. Right. He's just a fragile
guy, but as we've said on our show, he's better with a concussion.
He is. Yeah, I mean,
so I think the CTE is probably going to just make him. He was going to average 300 a game.
He's going to ruin his 40s as a human being.
But these next 5 or 6
years, gold.
So I love that there are no more undefeated teams.
And the Bucs are a surprise too. It's like everybody was like,
you wrote Baker Mayfield up.
Yeah, it's like, what is Baker going to do? Mike Evans wants out.
Yeah,
who's even there?
There's just like
weird
just
energy just around. They're just a solid team.
In some ways, you say that's what Tom Brady needed around him was a solid team.
Fair enough.
To pull that off in order.
He did pull it off though. He pulled it off for one thing.
He did.
I mean, I'm a little surprised at how much the Patriots have fallen off the table and become what they haven't been for 25. I mean, even the Parcells years in the 90s, like they were
better
at least
than this.
playoff team. From Bledsoe coming on that team until now, they would win the majority of their games every single year. Did they ever have like really, really bad years? No. Even the Matt Castle year, they were 11-5. So you know what I mean? Like this is surprising to me to see how far a Bill Belichick. You think that a Bill Belichick team would at least
be 500,
be 3-3.
We have never seen him go through a breakup though. This is breakup Bill.
He broke up with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
damn.
He's going through some stuff right now. He's going to McDonald's after the game.
Yes.
This ain't your same Bill. Bill is not stable right now.
I heard a slight bit of emotion in a postscript.
Yeah, he's about to start doing improv.
Stop it.
Nah, Bill. Hey.
That's everything. Bill, what did you talk about? I'm like, what are you trying to do an impression of Shaquille O'Neal?
He's wearing different hats. Outside of work.
He's putting sleeves on his sweatshirts, for Christ's sake.
This is not the same Bill.
I'm like, who are you, Cedric the Entertainer? Put some sleeves on that shit.
Sleeve that shit up. Or Bill Belichick should come out with his own line of off-sleeve
big
sweatshirts.
Missed opportunity
right?
for him.
Huge missed opportunity.
Because I was even at the height of the Patriots.
I was doing that.
Cutoff.
Thank you.
Of course you were.
I rocked a cutoff hoodie everywhere.
But would you do like the skin tight undershirt that goes
no?
Cutoff hoodie though is a bold move. That's like
the Belichick hoodie should just be what it is.
I was
like
the Bill Belichick at community college.
Yes, you were.
That's pretty good.
Were you wearing the community college sweatshirt, cut off sleeves?
I mean, I was just at community college with a cut off. Yeah.
People are like, is that Black Belichick?
Yeah,
all right. So the Dolphins are 5-1. The Ravens are at the top, but I don't trust them. The Jaguars are at the top. I don't really trust them. Eagles,
but Trevor Lawrence,
another great quarterback.
Lions,
Tampa Bay is leading there, and the 49ers. Eagles, Lions, 49ers on the NFC side. Finally, the NFC has more than one team that you feel like has a shot.
I think Dallas is
Miami, Buffalo.
Dallas is real. Unfortunately.
I know.
So Dallas is real. Those are the 4 teams. Miami, Buffalo. I'm not going to put Baltimore there. I think Jacksonville, Kansas
I think Lamar's
City.
hurt.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going on. I think he's just got a bum wheel.
You think so?
Hopefully it's not permanent or whatever, but just right now, he just seems off.
I mean, it leaves the door open for Pittsburgh, who's 3-2, and Cleveland, who's 3-2, and the Bengals, who are 3-3. That may be the most interesting division in all of the NFL because you're like
the Bengals might be the best team in that division, and they're
at the bottom right now.
Down.
Yeah.
Which goes to show you can't throw the season away at the beginning. They had such a terrible beginning of their season. You say to yourself, just
NFL, you can lose 4 games.
It almost seems like they added an extra game for the Bengals.
that like
They
you could
really
go,
benefit from that.
So you can
They
get
do.
right.
Yeah.
They benefit because at the end of the year, he's going to be feeling better.
I think that division's going to beat each other up, and I think
As
10-6 will win that. 10-7 will win that division
Easily.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe even a 9-8. There are like 2 teams that are 9-8, and because there's like a tiebreaker that comes in.
Yeah, the Steelers are always going to be right around there.
Can we start giving Mike Tomlin all the flowers for like what he's been able to do, always having a winning record with that team? Like
no matter who's the court,
like we're not talking about that enough.
How many titles does he have? 2 or just 1?
I think 2. I think he has 2.
he has the one with the James Harrison crazy. Wasn't that him? Was that Bill Cowher still?
Yeah, I'm a little fuzzy on
I think that was Tomlin.
who was whose.
When
Because then
James Harrison
I can
returned that.
2 different Super Bowls on 2 occasions. As an assistant coach, he won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As a head coach, he won once. He's only won one.
as a
okay,
head.
one Steelers. Okay, because the
But he's been a
Steelers
part
lost
of it.
that one to Seattle.
Yeah.
right. Or maybe they won one.
So they
won
beat
one.
the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals, and I think he was
part of that one.
Okay.
Anyway, we need to start giving him some props.
Yep.
It's just,
Seattle.
it's an exciting year. All right, should we take a break?
Let's take a break.
We'll come back. Jamel Johnson. We'll talk to.
Tell you how you can follow him,
see
support
him
him.
live, and of course follow the podcast. This is View from the Cheap Seats. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Before we get into how you can support Jamel Johnson and how you can see him and all that stuff, we got to tell you about some dates we have coming up that are big for us.
Big stuff coming up. First of all, in LA, we're doing a Tag It at Largo on
Monday, November 6th.
Monday, November 6th. That's happening. Very excited about that. Monday, November 6th, we're doing this Largo show. Kumail Nanjiani is doing it.
Beth Stelling
is doing it. Aparna Nancherla, and we will get one more person to do it. So super fun. They do their sets. We're off in the back writing tags that we then pitch them on stage afterwards.
Nice.
We're doing the show tonight at the Comedy Store as we do. We'll do it again in the middle of, I think it's November 15th and December 13th at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room. Those shows, always fun. Please go check that
You
out.
should come do one of those.
You absolutely should.
Hey, let me know. I'm in town all winter.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So,
So
we'll
you'll
have
be
you
on
either
one
on
of those.
November or December. You can check Jamel out on that. We're going to be at the Blue Room. I cannot wait to do this in Springfield. I've heard such good things about this. Springfield, Missouri, where we come from, Missouri. We're going to go to the Blue Room on November 10th and 11th. And on the 12th, we're going to be in New York doing our 2-man show. Theater switched. We're at Ars Nova. We'll put the link up, and it's on.
This is a great theater, but it's a small theater.
99 seats. We got 99 seats, and a bitch ain't one.
Yeah.
So
Be there.
Be there.
Fill it up. Our New York fans, come see us. This is super important to us. This is a really special
November
personal
12th,
show.
I think it's going to be a 7 p.m. show. It's
One show. You got only one crack to see us. Sunday night.
Ars Nova. It's part of the New York Comedy Festival. I think we're still calling it Twin Dads, but it's a really good storytelling, deep, funny. It's about parenting. It's about we're not even making the case for parenting.
We're not. We unintentionally make the case for why you
It's
should
a
be a parent.
show about hope in the face of hopelessness, which do we need that now? We need that now. So
Amen.
Go to that, supersklars.com to check that out. We'll be in Cleveland at the beginning of December, and Portland, Oregon, and Seattle at the beginning of January. Denver, back in Denver doing Comedy Works on the South Club beginning of February. And at the beginning of March, we'll be at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, the first place we ever got paid to do comedy. How about that?
I just did the Comedy Castle.
Did you enjoy it?
It was great.
Great time, right? Detroit's going to be so happy. at that
Crazy
period of
door.
time.
Yeah.
You
Yes,
walk out of
right.
a crazy. It's like I was like, oh, I'm really in a castle.
That's right. You
Yeah,
feel like it.
it's
And
What a
Mark
time.
Ridley, what a great guy. And then beginning of April, we're at beginning of April, we're in Minneapolis at Acme, and then Moon Tower, and then beyond, we might be in Alaska in May. So all this good stuff, supersklars.com. Check it out. The podcast that you are a part of that we love so much, and we do believe if you listen to this, you probably will love that podcast. Sorry we love football.
Yeah.
Start with our episode or watch whenever. I mean, check out any one you want, but they're really fantastic. It's a weekly show, correct?
Yeah, every
So-
week until right after the Pro Bowl, and then we shut it down till draft rumors.
Okay.
You guys do draft stuff, and then of course summertime, 2-a-days, all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trade
OTAs,
stuff,
we get into
OTAs, and then you
Right.
start to get back into it in the preseason and Hard Knocks and all. We
It's
talked a
year
lot
long.
about Hard Knocks.
That's so good.
So there's that, and where can people catch you and see your dates live?
Okay, so I'm at Broccoli House on Instagram. It's Nonprofit Comic on Twitter.
Okay.
If people are still doing that. What else? Tomorrow night, I'm at the State Theater in Falls Church.
Yes.
Saturday. Next Wednesday, the 25th, I'm at Legacy, D.C.
Great.
14th, D.C. What up?
Yep.
The
hometown.
15th, I'm at Wise Guys in Las Vegas. November 15th.
Great.
The 16th, Wise Guys Salt Lake City.
Nice. I love that club.
And
Keith
then,
Styles, baby.
November 5th, the Comedy Store upstairs, the Belly Room, doing a little thing called XYZ, a little game show.
Yes.
Which we got to have you guys on that.
Let's do that.
Do it.
And I'm staying in LA all winter, so if you need anybody to watch your pets, I'm available.
I love
If you're
that.
watching, I
Good
got
to know.
y'all. I
Good to
will
know.
do 2 dog walks
Yeah.
a day. I'm available for 2 dog walks a day.
I love it.
And I got a couple other podcasts. Air Buds is a basketball show that I do with my friends Peter Moses,
Beautiful.
Mike Benner.
I love
and then
Peter Moses.
I do another little thing called In Season with Rob Hayes, where we just
Rob
basically
Hayes.
it's really just us going over sports talk shows.
It's great.
It's
Phenomenal.
like we
You
just
should go over
We
ours.
just talk about First Take and
First
so we'll
Take.
throw y'all in. But yeah, come on, man. No, yes,
on, do
we'll
a
put
little
the
view
cheap.
from the
We'll
cheap
get some
seats.
cheap
Come on,
seats
come
on the
on.
boards. And the Brandon Jamel show with me and Brandon Wardell, who I will be at both of those Wise Guys dates with.
Oh, I love him.
boom,
we
boom.
had him on Dumb People Town. Just great dude.
So fun.
So funny.
That's my guy.
he
That's
should
my
think-
little uncle right there.
He should think about mellowing out and doing some drugs from time to time.
Hey, yeah.
He might.
Maybe. Why not? All right. Let's jump into some quick hits, shall we, Jay? Because some things happened. So Colorado played Stanford, and if you have the outline, Aaron, pull this up because there is a little thing I want to play on here. Colorado played Stanford. I mean, what do you think about Coach Prime right now?
I mean,
the 60 Minutes interview was a little premature, right?
I was like, let's pump the brakes.
Let's put that
on
interview-
hyping this team before we see the back end of their
Because
season.
they're going to get their ass handed to them by someone.
Oregon State is good.
yeah, the Pac-12. It turns out it's good. I've made fun of the Pac-12. I have for many years.
Forever.
Turns out it should stick around, right?
Turns out it was pretty good, and I'm sorry to the Pac-12.
So they're up. Colorado's up 29-0 on Stanford, and you're like,
Just-
this is going to be
Blowouts.
Like
Stanford's down.
Shador Sanders will get 1,000 yards in this game. That's what everybody thought as you're watching.
And he's holding up, he's doing his thing.
He flashed the wrist in the game.
Did he do that at
Not
the
in the
Stanford,
Stanford game.
He did it in the Arizona State game.
Yeah, that was the end of that one, right?
Yeah.
So Stanford
Give him
comes
lunch.
all the way back in only the way that Stanford can. Stanford be 1-4. They're nothing's going on for them, and then all of a sudden they come back in the most epic way. One of their receivers, and I can't pronounce his last name. I'm going to get it wrong.
All I know is number 13.
Yeah,
13.
caught the ball in the guy's helmet and backed him
up
into
like
the end
12
zone.
yards.
Travis Hunter. It was him versus Travis Hunter for the whole second half. He had like 280 yards.
293 yards. This man had 300.
is
I'm
Travis
going to
Hunter
bump it up to 300 yards.
Well, yeah, the guy's coming off a lacerated
is he
liver.
okay?
He might have needed an extra week.
Maybe.
Yes.
But the PA DJ, which is now a thing, like there's a DJ that plays music in the stadiums, which is fun. It keeps the crowd excited. And it's like you've been to college football games. I love it. But then there was this. This is what he was playing music while Stanford was up there. And if we could play the sound on this, Aaron, let's play this right here. This is what the referee said.
Nation ready to snap the ball. Any more playing of music and sound effects will result in an unsportsmanlike conduct foul against Colorado. It's third down.
How about that?
So the DJ can't spin.
Turn it off or you're getting
The DJ can't spin is what Mark Jones said. You can't do that stuff. So let's sound effects. That's like throwing a flag at the morning zoo guy who's like, like the weird. I mean, if you were a DJ, see, that's something that like we didn't have to deal with in the 90s. They weren't letting DJs out there doing their stuff.
He should have hit the Funkmaster Flex bomb right as the ref was saying it. Like, do something now. The second flag for this? No, this is my last one.
If you
Last night, a DJ saved my life.
I mean, that would have been so
And
great.
he hit it right when he was
No,
talking.
right when he did. He's sorry.
My bad.
My bad.
You just said
I
it.
leaned on the button that I'm
turning-
sorry. I'm
I
turning
just
it
was
off.
turning it off.
That to me was
That's how it shuts down.
That like the referee's like, now I got to deal with this joker over here.
Yeah, that's tough.
This guy who's got a whole basket of sound effects
This is why people say the Pac-12 isn't real.
because of stuff
Because
like
the guy,
this.
ref's got to talk to the DJ for
Yeah,
10
the
seconds.
game's on at 1 a.m.
So listen to me. The
Game is on at 1 a.m.
it is. It's like after
On
dark.
a Saturday night,
what do they-
Pac-12
yeah,
after dark.
Like it's silk stockings.
Thank you. Great pull. So it's 14 nothing.
Who's the sideline commentator? Rhonda Shear?
Stop. Elvira, Mistress of the
You're
Dark.
gonna play Duckman next?
Thank you.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
So it's 14 nothing at the time Colorado's up, and then this weirdness happens. And I'm not saying, look, because it ballooned to 29 nothing. I'm not saying this turned the tide, but what if the coach goes into halftime and is like, they're beating the shit out of us. They're taking the DJ's disrespecting you. Don't let that DJ disrespect you. Boom, they come back.
You know, you got one job, and that's shut that DJ up.
Shut that DJ up. Like, what if that's the thing they're chanting as they come out of there?
Motivation.
It might
Bulletin
have been,
board
bro.
material.
The
Dude,
way they
that
was
would've
playing,
been so great.
that guy, his draft stock went nuts.
Never seen it. Yo, that guy. The receiver.
He went from NFL Europe to
NFL.
like a second rounder.
I agree.
In a half a game.
Right,
From
this
an
may-
unknown to a guy.
Yeah.
This may be the weirdest story I've ever heard. It's so disturbing, sports or otherwise. Marty Jannetty may be remembered. Do you know him as like
Marty
a tech?
Jannetty.
Oh,
Sorry,
Janetti. Marty Jannetty sounded like something.
Marty Jannetty.
different.
Why do I not know Marty Jannetty?
Yeah.
It's like I stopped with.
Hit you with the drop kick like Marty Jannetty.
There you go,
an
legend.
Action Bronson,
I'm sorry, we got to cut that because I sound like a dumb shit by saying.
Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty may be remembered for his time in the tag team with wrestling legend Shawn Michaels, but his historic time with the flagship company may be eclipsed by his alleged bestiality that he talked about. 1 hour, over 100 comments later, the former WWF tag team champion had found himself in hot water. 63 years old, all right, posted to his Facebook wall, I just had sex with a rabbit, and it wasn't that bad. Why are you having sex with a rabbit? Look,
Why are you posting about it?
I understand that rabbits like to have sex. They do like to have sex. Like, their rabbits are multipliers all over the place. But
we screwed like bunnies, they said.
but the rabbit doesn't want you in it.
I think we can all agree. I think that's fair to say.
Plenty of concerned comments were.
The only time you say I was in a rabbit is when you got into a Volkswagen.
That's it.
That's the only time you should say I was in a
You
rabbit.
should ever be in a rabbit. And the fact that he posted it thinking that people would be like, oh, okay. Like, how much brain damage do you have to have?
it's the Jake the Snake Robert. Did you see that documentary?
What is it?
Beyond the Mat?
I have
Beyond the
not
Mat.
seen Beyond.
Oh,
I
you
need
bust.
this.
Have you seen that, Aaron? Unbelievable documentary.
Oh yeah, you got
So, there's a moment where he's like, so I go back to our hotel room and it's one girl, then it's two girls, then it's me and the two girls, then I'm just sitting there watching the two girls, and then after a while I'm not doing anything anymore, I'm just in the corner. And you're like, well, that's the path it goes on for these guys when like
The next step is you're banging a rabbit. I don't like this at all. Jannetty, come on.
I believe he has some heavy substance abuse problems.
Jannetty,
what's up, Doc? I'll tell you what's up.
I do not like that.
He got a new one. You up, Doc?
Have you seen Marty's always walking around with carrots on him?
Yeah,
Why does he always
come on,
have
man.
carrots
Knock
on?
that
What
off.
is he
Someone
doing?
posted
Come on, man.
to
Is
it.
that a
Where's he
carrot
going
in your
with
pocket? You just happy to see me? Oh, both?
The fact that he did it is terrible. The fact that he posted about it on Facebook.
Worse.
Yeah.
Also, Facebook, like, this is the point at which you can send the cops in.
Yeah, shut it down.
Yeah.
If he got a rabbit in there,
Red flag it.
Get the rabbit out of there.
It's interesting. How long do you think he waited?
Before he posted?
Yeah, you think this is like right after?
Right after. He's like, it wasn't bad. Like, someone asked, hey, man, what's it like having sex? Nobody asked for this.
Like magicians should be
Well,
mad at
when
this
you're
guy.
on meth, someone inside of your head is asking.
asking
you.
for
Someone is asking. There are
So
voices
answer
asking.
it in your head, but just don't do it, for Christ's sake. All
come on,
right.
man.
Remember when we had T.O. on this show?
We had okay.
Damn.
T.O. on this show, this is like years ago at Earwolf, and Jay and I tried to convince him that being gay was not a choice. It was something you were genetically born with. And our argument was, yo, man, T.O., you see a guy walking over here.
And objectively, you're like, that's a
Good-looking guy. However, inside of you, you say, I'm not going to hit that because
Yeah,
there's
I'm not-
something inside of you that says
That's not- I'm not
That
attracted.
doesn't attract. Now, you don't know where that come from, but you see a beautiful woman walk by and you're like, all right, here we go. But that's something deep inside of you. You don't control that. You don't choose that. That is inside of you.
And
I think that's true.
He responded to that. It was
He was-
amazing. You
so,
could
like,
see him like
what
start
if-
to
you
shift.
could see the wheels starting to shift. I was like so impressed that like he even gave it like
He's like, huh.
yeah,
It's like,
kinda
oh, I
like
guess
that.
I didn't think of it that way.
Right, because you're like, so if a guy who is into dudes sees a woman walk by, he thinks the same thing that you think.
Objectively attractive. I'm not
It's like, whoa, so
interested in that.
you mean to tell me he would see a hot woman and not immediately try to find her Instagram and DM her and
So,
none of that?
and that's what we were
and
saying.
harass her.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's
yes.
great. You could do that.
Yes, because it's not a choice of his.
That's right.
It's not like he doesn't want to.
So Tio, like, still, by the way, in like football playing shape, like,
Yeah, I mean,
still
it's like
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at some people. Like, I was watching the Beckham documentary, which was fascinating and amazing, and Ronaldo. Not
Oh yeah, like the
the
original.
the original
Brazilian,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Brazilian,
Brazilian
who's one
Ronaldo.
name Ronaldo. He's like
who was
300
awesome.
pounds.
He is enormous now, and
Yeah,
you're like,
he hit Fogo de Chao a couple times.
thank you.
After he got done.
He's got the one thing where you hold
Fogo de
up.
Chao is so amazing. You don't order any food. You just hold up different
It's
color
like
paddles.
you're at a food auction.
different color paddles, and before you know it, there's a guy shaving meat off of a
Just
stick.
shaving it.
Shaving it off of a
Ronaldo's
stick.
there.
Ronaldo
Every location.
And by the way, Ronaldo doesn't pay for a meal at Fogo
yeah,
de
no,
Chao
you kidding?
ever. He is like, his name is on the menu.
They gave him 2% of the company.
Okay, so exactly.
Just
He's
handed it to
here.
him.
Boss
Yeah.
is coming in.
Please.
Put him in his seat and
Get
let
him
him
in the
go.
booth.
So but what it shows you is that like the amount of training that these guys do during their career, they are just they're in incredible shape. And then if you take them off of that, I'm working out all the time. He's a normal guy.
One burger.
One
Yeah,
burger,
just a regular
and boom.
Just
dude.
immediately.
I remember
a guy.
Pete Correale. I love him so much. Pete Correale, great comic. He once had the most hilarious bit. He's like, yeah, you get up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror. And you're like, God, I'm thin. I look good. I look great. And then I have like one thimble of orange juice, and I'm like, what the fuck happened, man? It's like I'm now over 10 pounds overweight. Like, what happened to me?
Yeah.
Anyway, so so Terrell Owens is in like
Great shape.
playing shape.
Yes.
Could play right
Yes.
now. So he also is still like playing sports. Like he's playing basketball, and you have to be crazy to be a wide receiver. You talked about Mike Evans earlier in this podcast. I'm gonna tell you, Mike Evans isn't all there. You have to live on the edge. It's no reason that like there's no coincidence that receivers are the ones who are doing, like, Antonio Brown is a receiver.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It takes a certain mindset.
To go over the middle, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said before, and get your block knocked off.
Like you hear in the NFL that like this offensive lineman is also a doctor. He also performs surgery. Like there are people like that, defensive linemen. Those you're like, yeah, those guys in the trenches. That I swear to you, like. They'll read like 8,000 books in a year. And you're like, what? And then Antonio Brown's just like pulling his pants down in a pool. And you're like, man, come on.
On a side note, T.O. was in this year's Big Three All-Star game. And I don't know if you guys are big basketball fans.
How did he
but
do?
He did okay.
Okay.
He hit the game winner, but he went like 1 for like 15. You know what I'm saying? But a ton of rebounds. And this is, if you're looking for a more physical All-Star game, where fouls are getting called and people are getting hit, I highly recommend the Big Three Celebrity. This wasn't even the All-Star game. This was the Celebrity game. The Celebrity game
He's
was
hacking.
intense.
He's
People are
hacking
getting
people.
hit, bro.
He's like dropping Kelly Clarkson.
There's
on the
blood
low post.
timeouts. The Big Three Celebrity game is a event, and people need to know about
like
this.
Bison Daly was treated better than the Big Three.
Okay. May he rest in peace.
R.I.P.
So listen, R.I.P. But T.O. recently was in a pickup game. He strikes me as the type of guy that of a pickup basketball player, and you just came from the court, so you know this guy who puts the shot up, waits to see if it goes in before he calls a foul. If it goes out, he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. He's the guy who calls it, either sinks it or calls a foul on every single shot. Yeah. So he clearly was getting into it with some guy recently. This is what happened. This recently happened. Okay, I mean, anybody's got tears for his quarterback on such a big level, right? It's my quarterback. Imagine how he is on the court. So he gets into it with this guy, and then he's leaving. This is up in Calabasas. I bet it's like where we played pickup with Mose that one time. And he's got out of the car, and
like Kobe's gym.
Yeah, Kobe's gym, and the guy who's playing with and who he was like having beef with the whole game drives into his knee. Like drives a car and hits Terrell. Like, yes,
like a car?
A car.
No.
Now he walked away and he's fine, but like he hit him with his car.
That's not okay.
That you had to leave it in the gym. Do you know what I'm saying? But like whatever T.O. did, he pissed this person off to the point where like got into and was ready to vehicularly go after him.
Mm-hmm.
That person, Stephen A. Smith.
Come on, Skip. Come on, Skip. You ain't gonna skip after I hit your knee.
Stephen, he can hoop.
Can he hoop though?
I mean, he has hooped.
He has.
Would he be in do you want to see him in the big three?
I would love to
Celebrity?
see. Yo, Stephen A., if you
He wouldn't
please,
allow himself. He wouldn't.
I was
himself.
on a go-to meeting with Steve Nash.
Please do this.
Please.
I was on a WebEx seminar. He always is like on weird pieces of meat. That was an old bit.
Last night, our old bit was like he would tell you the.
Last night I was on a Microsoft Groups.
Oh, team viewer.
You're on Teams, Google Meetup.
I was in a Google hang with Nikola Jokic and two of his brothers.
It's none of my business. It was none of my business.
You mean to tell? Anyway, I love it so much. All right, there you go. We have a Patreon that is, it's weird.
If you have not joined our Patreon, this is a wonderful, easy way for you to get new episodes of Cheap Seats.
Every single month or so, we did a Japanese game show called The Wall. Different than The Wall here. It's where I think they're comedians. They're sitting on top of all of them sitting on top of a wall.
And then they try and knock them down like
they call in ex-girlfriends who come and punch the wall of the people, and like football players and roller derby that they sling them into the wall. It's so weird that I can't believe I'm actually saying a Japanese game show is so weird, but that's an episode that we did coming up. There's so much fun stuff that we have coming up.
Did a British Superstars. We did a bunch of other great things. Just
Sick.
join it. $5 a month.
Patreon.com/Sklar Brothers. Plus, we give you these videos that we find. What is the craziest thing that came across our social media feed that is in the
realm
vein
of sports?
All that is we
Just join Patreon.com/Sklar Brothers.
Thank you, Jamel. And the show, again, if you want to subscribe to it, go after you listen to this podcast. Sorry, we love football. It's so good. I'm so happy we did it. We'll come back and do it again. And we'll get your other co-host on as soon as we get this thing together. But we have a voicemail on the other side of this break. This is View from the Cheap Seats. Thank you, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all, bro.
We'll be right back. Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. Jamel Johnson.
Just wonderful.
Just a
delightful.
A lovely dude to have around. And
so fun.
I'm glad that we're connected with all those guys because I do believe that now we have a good connection to what is going on in the NFL as it is going on. Good takes, smart takes. They know what's up.
I love it. All right, we got a voicemail before we get out of here. Check it out.
We are live from 6 Heavenly and 6heavenlythescore.com. You are listening to the Bears pre, post, past, and future show here on 6 Heavenly and 6 Heavenly The Score. I am your host, as always, Doug Buffone. Special announcement. Want to let everybody know, starting with next season, contract already done with the big guy in the white robe. I will have a new member here joining me, none other than the guy I lined up across with my old time with the Chicago Bears. It would be Dick Butkus. Now, Dick did have to campaign pretty hard to get in here. I'm just kidding. They actually told him you could go back down. He said, you know what? I've lived heaven on earth to fight long enough. I'm willing to come up here now. So we're happy to have him. But I do want to get to this. The Chicago Bears are nothing but a hot garbage team. They couldn't score a piece of trash in a dumpster if they had to. Justin, no more Strawberry Fields forever. You know, we thought he was a guy for 2 games. Then he comes out and says, oh, you know what? I just forgot to throw to DJ Moore. Look like DJ Less out there. I can't take that garbage anymore. Also, I shouldn't even go into this, but I can't help it. Ron Santos up here running around on 2 legs. That's all he talks about, clicking his heels wherever he can. He's never been more pissed off in his life because the Bears could have spent $8 million to keep Kyle Schwarber, and now he's the greatest leadoff home running hitter of all time. So you could catch his I'm in heaven, but it's hot enough up here to Meltdown radio show. It's actually a podcast, but nobody has a heart to tell him. In a minute, we're going to go out to the Czechoslovakian professor on the 355. He's calling in, wants to talk. He got a lot of stuff on his mind, actually, but wants to talk about the Chicago Fire. Not anything I really know about, but I am pretty pumped about the Chicago Sky. Not the WNBA team we want to have this year, but, you know, they're always competitive, and they can't all be Michael. Although if they could be all Michael, would anybody be mad? How about that? If you could get a whole bunch of Michael Jordans dressed as women out there willing to play in the WNBA, I don't think so. That's just my hot take, but I'm not here to make anybody mad. Anyway, so I wanted to make that big announcement. You can listen to the Bears pre and post game show. Well, my man, me and DB, who's at LB, back from the day with me here on 6 Heavily at 6heavilythescore.com. We come right back. Our next segment is going to be brought to you by Polecats Gentlemen's Club in partnership with Majestic Star Casino. Win your dollars and then throw them in the air. It's a 2-night doubleheader if you're having a good time out on the south side or over in Indiana. All right, I'm done with phone. We come back right from this. We're going to go to Kent out on Kingery, Route 83. He's probably out going to Villa Park, hitting up the original Portillo's, getting himself a dog, maybe a Maxwell Street combo. We'll be right back on 6 Heavily at 6heavilythescore.com.
Okay, guys, that is a show. Thank you so much to everyone who came out in Fort Collins. We're posting those clips online. We just had such a great weekend.
We'll see you in Springfield on November 10th and 11th. We'll see you at Largo on November 6th here in Los Angeles. And then if you're in New York City and you're a fan of us and this show, let's see you there.
November 12th, that's a Sunday, Ars Nova, 7 p.m., 54th and 10th. We want every single one of our New York peeps. I know Stephen Elton Yates is going to be out there with the crew, so we want to see all of you out there at that show. Let's sell it out and add another show, Jay. Wouldn't that be great? I'd love to do that. Supersklars.com is where it is. We'll see you. Punch a Waterfall next week.